I just talked about this flash for probably 15 minutes. And I wasn't recording. I wasn't recording any of it. So Old Man Jacob here. Today we're going to be talking about the Meiki MK320 speedlight. So if you saw at the end of my last video, about half my pictures ended up black. The flash didn't go off. It wasn't because of incorrect camera settings or anything like that. It was because this flash decided to not work with TTL anymore. We'll dive a little deeper into that problem, but first I want to talk about kind of this flash as a whole. The Meiki MK320 is a very popular flash for macro photographers, especially those just starting out, because it is $60. It more or less gets the job done, and when it does have problems, it's kind of easy to excuse because it is only like 60 bucks. So when you buy this flash, you get the flash, you get a base to kind of set it on, if I can do it. There, like that. Normally you would have this just hooked up to your camera, but this does have an optical slave mode. So that can be kind of handy if you want to use the flash on your camera at a low setting. You can set this to slave mode and kind of position it somewhere else with a diffuser and get the light from different angles. So optical flash is nice. It works pretty well. And then it comes with this, which I was never able to figure out if this is actually supposed to be a diffuser or just some kind of cap. If it is actually supposed to be a diffuser, it doesn't really do any diffusing. Anyways, all those things come in a little bag. So that's what you get for about 60 bucks. I use a Sony camera currently, so I got the Sony version. They I think make versions for about every camera out there. So anyways, it has TTL. In case you don't know what TTL is, it means through the lens. It's basically your camera and the flash kind of communicate together, and it's sort of an auto mode for the flash to try to auto balance your exposure. It also has manual mode. You can set it up anywhere from 1/128th power all the way up to full power. It goes in third of stop increments. It does have a little modeling light. So this comes in handy when you're shooting in low light. If you're shooting at night, especially to try to grab your focus, I would often turn this modeling light on. That way it helps me sort of find the insect, at least sort of grab my focus point, and then go ahead and fire it off. So now I think I want to dive into a little bit about the consistency of the flash. It does have some issues there. But I'm going to try to be as fair as I can. I'm going to show you that you can get good images with this flash. It just does have some weaknesses as well. So we're going to dive into to Lightroom and take a look at some of what you can expect when you have this flash. All right, so we're in Lightroom here. What we can look at, I'm looking specifically at when I filmed the last video. You can see everything was going just fine up until here. Then we've got a lot of black. Black, 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 black. These shots that aren't totally black after that actually are. I have just raised the exposure 5 stops to try to see if it would have been a good image. So TTL mode completely died. It actually still fires. You wouldn't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's firing too late. So I have my shutter speed set at 1/160th of a second, and the flash is actually firing after that. So anyways, I've had this flash since January. I do take a lot of pictures, probably, I don't know, I would say on average 200 a day. And the bulk of those use the flash. So it's been used quite a bit. If that gives you some sort of idea of life expectancy. I don't know, you can do the math. That's a lot of flashes. But it was having problems even before that. So if you look here, this was a few days prior. This is typical with the flash on a regular basis when it's not broken. If you're taking shots somewhat rapidly, So you can see here, I was trying to take a picture of a crane fly. I had him framed up in what I thought was a nice composition, and I was just waiting for sort of the right moment for him. Taking a lot of shots, trying to make sure I got something in focus, maybe do a stack. But these black ones are when the flash just didn't fire. There's another one, another one, another one. You can sort of see how often it happens. And this is not me rapid firing. You know, there's another one there, a few there. I'm taking my time between shots on these. I wasn't trying to do any kind of stack with these necessarily. I'm just lining up my shots and, you know, trying to focus well on taking them. So let's see, a few days before, it looks like I got pretty lucky on that day. Boy, if we look at this, I mean, look, there's two, and then it didn't fire. Then it overfired, then underfired, then didn't fire at all. I mean, look at this. So this is what happens with this flash if you try to shoot quickly. It goes all over the place. You will not have a consistent exposure if you try to rapid fire. Even in manual mode, which is what I was using on this page we were just looking at. In manual mode, even it will not shoot a consistent power. You will have a super bright image, way overexposed. Then you'll get one that's proper, then it won't fire at all. Then you'll get two more that are overexposed. It just kind of does whatever it wants. I want to be very, very clear though that is a problem when you're shooting quickly. Not even faster than its advertised recycle time, but if you're shooting about, I don't know, a shot every 2 seconds or so, it's going to start having problems. It's going to miss about 20% of those shots. It's not going to fire. Now, on the other hand, if you take your time and you are taking one shot and then slowly trying to focus and taking another shot, you can get some good shots. So all of these in here, in these folders, these are the latest Instagram posts. We take a look at these. So these were all shot with the Meiki MK320. And I was able to get sharp photos. I was able to get, you know, exposure close enough that I was able to adjust it in Lightroom and get what I needed. So you can get good shots with this flash. So who's this flash for? This flash is for maybe if you're doing macro photography, but you're not necessarily doing insects, where you're doing macro photography of still life objects or food photography or something. You could add this. Usually with food photography, you're gonna have 2 or 3 speed lights, but this could be one of the ones in the mix. It would work just fine. It's great for beginners. If you aren't ready to put a whole bunch of money into a flash and you're not really sure if you're going to enjoy macro photography or not, this is a great way to get in the door very inexpensively and kind of give it a try and then potentially upgrade later. Also, I would argue that even for somebody who is fairly adept at macro photography, this isn't a bad speedlight. If you're taking single shots and you're taking your time to line them up and focus. As soon as you get into any kind of rapid fire, that's where this starts having a lot of issues. What are your alternatives? So if what I've said kind of turns you off from the Meiki MK320, I wouldn't blame you. This is where a lot of people start, but it's not where a lot of people end up. So most macro photographers are going to be using a Godux, typically a TT350 or a V860. Those are probably the most common, or at least the most common right now. Currently, the TT350 and the V860 Mark III are very, very popular. They're high quality flashes. They don't suffer from the same inconsistency at sort of rapid fire intervals. They have low recycle times. They are a little pricier though. You're going to spend $200 ish for one of those flashes. They should last longer though, and they should give you better quality photos, at least more consistent, better quality photos. Like I said, with the Meiki MK320, you can get good photos. You just better hope that your one photo that goes black out of 5 is not the one that you got perfect focus in or caught a perfect moment in, because you can get unlucky like that sometimes. So that's kind of all I have to say about this flash. I was fine living with its imperfections until it broke, but the time has come. It's broke, so I'm going to be upgrading. I will be getting the V860 Mark III. That's a very nice flash, and I think that's going to suit my needs quite a bit better. So hopefully this video is helpful if you're looking to purchase the Meiki MK320 or any other kind of flash, if you're just looking to get into macro photography. If this video was helpful at all, please give me a like so that I know that I'm doing a good job. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more content. You can also follow me on Instagram at oldmanjacobmacro. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next week.